everyone, thank you for joining us on today's edition of Sunday Interview. I'm your presenter, Franklin Tambo Jr. Using the powers vested in him, the Minister of Transport and Communications, Mutotwe Kafwaya, recently dissolved the Board of Directors of the Zambia Information and Technology Authority, ZECTA, while in a related development, he also did the same with the dissolution of the Board of Directors of ZAMPOST, while workers there remain owed their salaries. Could this suggest there is more trouble that is brewing at ZAMPOST than meets the eye? The story of ZECTA lately has included, among many others, the dealing of social media abuse by consumers and the spread of hate speech. Could this be the reason behind the actions that have been seen so far? And when do we see a new set of boards instituted? Well, to answer those questions is the Minister himself, Honorable Mutotwe Kafwaya, Minister of Transport and Communications. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Franklin, for having me, and good evening to all of our viewers.
Right. The last time we met, you were in another ministry,
yes.
Works and Supply to be precise. So let me congratulate you on your new portfolio. Thank
you very much. Again, thanks to His Excellency the President, because as you know, he's the one who holds all these positions. If he feels that I can contribute in this area, he puts you where he thinks I can contribute, better.
Okay.
And I do think that I'm benefiting a lot from his leadership, because now he's exposed me in infrastructure, he's exposed me in transport. It's good for me.
Right.
It's good for my contribution to my country.
And you're relatively young. You're learning, the ropes. What's your impression? Don't you miss the ministry you left earlier?
Well, it's service. I think that the people that I'm serving now are the same people I was serving then. It's just self-application, which is important for me. If I apply myself better and the people of Zambia, get more throughput, from my exerting of the energy, then I'm happy. If I can support His Excellency better, I am happy. But I do know that for all of these things, they just center on one person, who is His Excellency, because he's the one the Zambian people entrusted with the responsibility to have their affairs, taken care of. So for me, I'm just contributing to him.
Right.
If I do contribute better, I am happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you losing weight faster than you thought? From a boiling pot to a frying pan?
It's contribution. It is contribution, and I think that's how I view it. And in any area that I'm put in, I'll do my best. I'll just do my best, because I have to contribute to what he's doing, to his vision for the country, much more effectively, really.
Right. So, obviously, the issues come with the issues call for your skills and what you bring to the table, and I suppose that is why what you're referring to is very important. But you left the issues at Works and Supply, and now you are in the Ministry of Communications and Transport.
Yeah.
And before long, boards are dissolved. What's the problem?
There's no problem. I was moved from Ministry of Works and Supply. Now I'm in transport and communication. What was the problem? I don't know. But the boards, they are just part of a governance structure. Okay, part of the governance structure, which means that there can be changes there. People can be moved. We can restructure the composition. That's normal, because what we want is maximum service to the Zambian people. And when we observe that we need to do a few changes in terms of governance, in terms of management, and of course the board is responsible for management, and management can make changes, underneath, that's all right.
How long have you been with the ministry?
Well, a few
6 months?
A few months. Well,
two boards dissolved under your tenure in such a short period?
It's okay. It's normal. There's been more than that happening in the ministry, to be honest. There's been more than dissolving boards. I think that just because this had to go around the media doesn't really mean this is the most significant thing that has happened in the ministry. We've done a lot. We keep working. But let me be clear, the focus is not the board for me. The focus is the Zambian people, okay? We focus on the people who elected PF, who elected President Lungu. And when we make changes in our institutions, we want our institutions to focus on the Zambian people. So clearly, the boards for me are not an issue. But the issue is the Zambian out there.
Which is true. And you've probably address this, but respectively, what was the major problem at ZICTA and what was one at ZAMPOS?
Well, I think change is important in our institutions, and we need to change with time. Speaking for ZICTA, you in your preamble, Franklin, you talked about social media. I think that social media is an important tool which can help the country to develop and develop fast, but also there's a downside of social media where people use it for hate speech, where people are going to use for cyberbullying, pornography, and all of the ugly face of it. So who is supposed to lead the conversation around sanitizing the cyber security? I think that it is ZICTA. Have we seen that presence? The Zambian people will judge. Have we seen the presence of that conversation aimed at sanitizing cyberspace? The Zambian people will have to judge. But we can talk a little more, if you will. Look at the complaints around the quality of network for mobile network providers, MTN, Zamtel, as well as Airtel. Everywhere people complain. All
right, that's an interesting. It is an interesting aspect to look at. Yeah. But specifically looking at social media and ZICTA's role and sanitizing, which basically, if I get you correct, talking about cleaning up. It would seem to indicate to me that you wanted ZICTA to have a little bit more of a surveillance responsibility. In other words, effectively compromising citizens' privacy.
I don't know. If I'm not bullied on social media because ZICTA has put a regulation in place which prohibits people from bullying me, I don't know how that affects your privacy, frankly. But if that's a view, it's worth conversing over. But my thinking is that...
But really, should it be a problem? Is it ZICTA's problem, or is it mindsets by the users of the service that obviously is overseen by an institution like ZICTA?
Absolutely. Our role is providing solutions. The problems that are created by other people who may not even be Zambians should be solved by us. So I'm concerned with solutions.
So what are you looking for? This new ZICTA board that will come to, what should it do?
Well, we have to find solutions to all the problems or most of the problems that the Zambian people are facing in the space where we have mandate. This is the main thing. We are not looking for ZICTA to go and provide solutions in RTSA. We are not looking for ZICTA to go and provide solutions at the Civil Aviation Authority. ZICTA should provide solutions within its mandate. And if the mandate is limited, if they can't really use their power because the mandate is limited, it is ZICTA's responsibility to drive the conversation to expand its mandate. So that in the end, we are sitting with adequate mandate and we are applying our mandate to make sure that the Zambian people are safe.
Safety, and everybody is looking for safety. And Honorable Minister, I dwell on this point because there are concerns that you might want to be increasing your power to monitor people's lives, even when not required. The issue of privacy is important. Nobody likes bullying. Nobody likes hate speech that's going on social media. But it would seem that you want to see everything that people are doing.
Well, to be very honest with you, the Zambian people already gave us enough power. We have enough power. This is
surely
why,
not to pry into their private affairs.
Absolutely, and that's where I'm coming. In your preamble, you talked about social media problems, which you recognize without my intervention. Okay?
Right.
You recognize that without my intervention. And I would imagine if we were able to sanitize cyber space so that we minimize or eliminate social media vices, we'll be happy.
How can you do that?
How can we do that? These are the solutions. And the solutions may not sit with me, Franklin. They may sit with ZICTA management, promoted by ZICTA board. Okay, promoted by ZICTA stakeholders, including myself.
I imagine that the people that, because you do have, you know, you're a professional yourself, but you do have technocrats, experts who think that there can be a better way of policing, you know, behavior or usage of social media. Yeah. But doesn't it border, or aren't you concerned that part of it will tell compromising the public's private lives?
I'm not concerned, because when we craft our systems, the systems are usually comprehensive. When we are solving a problem, we want to solve that problem and not create another problem. The people's privacy must be maintained. My privacy should be maintained despite being a public person. I have a minimal side which is private, isn't it? It has to be secured. And I do think that all the Zambians from east to west, north to south, and everyone in between, we all want to be secure. And it's our duty to ensure that security. But that security should also extend to the cyberspace. Because if my physical security is okay, because Honorable Kampiong has provided the COPS, why should my cyberspace not have me safe? So I am responsible for ensuring safety on the cyberspace. We will do that for the benefit of every Zambian. Right.
So in other words, the long and short of it, hopefully for the Zambian, is that whilst sorting out the problem of, you know, the negatives of social media, there's guarantee of people's privacy being maintained.
Absolutely, absolutely. We've had that, you know, that privacy. Nobody will take it away. I think that it's not just a requirement here in Zambia. It's a global practice. It's common practice to guarantee people's, you know, privacy, and we have to do that both physically as well as you know, virtually.
Earlier on, you made reference to the poor network or poor service that network providers are providing, and some people think it keeps on getting worse. What are you doing to change the status quo? The dissolution of ZICTA is one thing, I suppose.
And obviously, yes. And I like the fact that it has to come from you, that some people are saying it's getting worse.
It's in public domain.
It's in public domain.
Yes.
Now, we are there. Okay, I'm there. ZICTA board is there. ZICTA management is there. Okay, why should it be getting worse? Am I the one who is a problem? Is it the board? Is it management? Is it the guys who are on the base? Those are the answers. And there is no one who will give the Zambian people the answers other than ourselves. This is why we have to promote that conversation. And if I'm not giving that conversation to the Zambian people, I might not be that useful.
Some people think that the three network providers just need more competition.
Yeah, of course you know about the fourth mobile MNO, you know, mobile network provider. We've been talking about Uzi for a long time. We know that, don't we? So the issue of competition is something that government has taken care of by giving a license to Uzi, isn't it? But of course we know, end of this month, which is just tomorrow, the time that they were given comes to an end. We know that.
So when is this about to happen?
Now that's where we have a situation where we review the progress Uzi has made. If we think that Uzi can be able to launch in a reasonable time, we will extend.
Aren't there other players who have been trying to come on the market?
There are other players, but there are other players who may wish to come and be the fourth, participate, fifth, and whatever. They may be there. and in their numbers. No, we are not, because we went through a process. Okay, we went through a process, and this process is a governance process. So you can't just go out and say this one has failed, you come in. No, it has to be a process.
But do we have an idea how many players want to come on the market? Would you have off cuff or what?
Well, I really don't have an idea how many players want to come on the market, but I do know that I wasn't sitting in the ministry when this was advertised. The evaluation considered the number of players, and that's an unequivocal expression of interest. And I also know that there's been inquiries, other people inquiring what's happening to Uzi. Can we bring in unsolicited, bids or expression of interest? But hold on, because we are already committed with Uzi. We know that not much has happened in terms of visibles, but we have to, the whole process has to be exhausted. We need to be sure that Uzi
in the meantime, the public, the consumers are having, not in all cases, but are not having the best of times. Dropped calls, and some people feel the rates are rather expensive in relation to other places when you travel. The year is coming to an end, and the public would like to know when this decisive, action is going to take place.
You see, decisive action is, do we need a fourth mobile network provider? Yes, we do. Has government acted? Yes, government has acted. Okay, the organization that has been given the opportunity, are they acting? There's some actions that have happened that I can tell you. If you go to ZICTA will tell you that they've paid for a license. They've been allocated spectrum. Very important. But what is important to the Zambian is not the license, it's not the allocation of spectrum. It is a core. It is having that phone and being able to communicate on that. It's the competition that this player is going to put on the economy or on the other player so that quality begins to improve. That's what a Zambian wants. And this is what we have to make sure happens, so that the Zambian people can benefit from these decisions, which Zambians may not even know about.
Right. Much as you're a government for all, a ministry for all, among the three players is a network that will be regarded as, a Zambian one. Yeah. Of course, everybody is operating, but you've got one that stems from a parastatal.
Yes.
Are you intending, or is there any indicator of giving it the extra support that should raise its profile or its, performance, so to speak? Because it seems to be a desire that it has not yet fully been achieved. Is that a conversation that you're having?
See, Franklin, things like that, cannot be viewed in isolation. Okay, you have to combine a number of things. Okay, you have to combine a number of things that have happened in the country. Then you see the support that organizations like Zamtel has actually got from government. Okay, 1,009 telecommunication towers installed across the country at a huge cost, supporting Zamtel. Okay, supporting Zamtel. Before that, 204 towers. Okay, there are other partners who are working at Zamtel to capacitate Zamtel. So this government, President Lungu's government, is doing a lot to make sure that Zamtel competes, okay, favorably with the others. But our role is not just to promote Zamtel, by the way. We have to promote MTN. We have to promote Zamtel, and we have to bring in other players like we are doing, trying to attract Uzi to come in the country. Okay, our role is to make sure that this environment is good for the Zambian people. Okay, our focus, by the way, is not Zamtel. It's not the Zamtel MD or the Airtel MD. That's not our focus. Our focus are the Zambian people, the users. Those who have phones which don't even have internet. Those are the ones we focus on. And we have to make sure that there's network in Malota. We have to make sure that in Kapoto there's network. We need to make sure that in areas that are difficult for commerce purposes, we have network. This is why we are putting all these 1,009 towers across the country.
Right. It's interesting you say that, because part of the conversation has been the increase in Wi-Fi, for example, free Wi-Fi in some places, and just generally having increased infrastructure to support the computerization of the remotest of places. Do you think you're moving at the rate that's required, considering the speed at which technological changes take place? Very good question, and also a bit difficult in a sense. But again, I tend to view this, adding other issues, because technology has to move. Singapore, when you look at the rate at which Singapore grew, it was very high for the fact that they exploited technology. This is what we're seeing in China. China 30 years ago was not the China we see today, but technology is transforming China. Today we get a lot of services from Huawei, as opposed to getting from other Western countries, because China has advanced. So, and we know President Lungu himself introduces Smart Zambia, as you may be aware, frankly. Smart Zambia to promote the growth of technology or the use of technology even within the public sector, isn't it? So everybody knows that the fourth revolution is the one that will take countries out of problems, and we in Zambia cannot be left behind. Pace, okay, pace. Right. That was your question. Yes. Are we doing this at the right pace, considering how much we need this technology? And it's needed, and in some cases has been needed even in elections. Absolutely. The possibility of electronic voting to reduce the tension that follows the manual voting that currently takes place. Absolutely. Where's the sense of urgency to achieve that? Well, yeah, I like that. It's a good question, as I said earlier, and I do think an important one as well. The agency, from the PF's government perspective, and particularly President Lungu's leadership, will be seen from what I just talked about. 1,009 towers. It has never happened. Somebody has to do it, surely. No, that's one way. Right. 1,009 towers is one way. What is the other way? What is happening now at Zamtel, where partners like Huawei are capacitating Zamtel? So at the end of the day, what should Zambians expect? Because you seem to have the picture. So what's the end result? Yes, what's the end result? What are you envisaging? For me, the end result, Franklin, is development. The end result is ensuring that our services are more efficient. Okay, when services become are delivered in a much more efficient manner, then you reduce cost, you improve quality, you expand your economy faster, and what you see is that the gains that are coming out of all of this efficiency and effectiveness begins to translate to the Zambian people. This is the focus. This is what we want to see, and you see, President Lungu is so clear about these issues. So clear about these issues. Maybe sometimes people like me let him down, because we may not be moving, at his, mental velocity. He sees these things very clearly, and I can tell you, because I've had a chance sometimes one-on-one with him to hear his own perspective about these issues. Smart Zambia, what he introduced there. Today, a public worker like myself gets an e-pay slip. We save paper. Every month. Ever since I became a minister, I have never received a hard copy pay slip. Well, that's interesting. But some people will think, well, that's happened in many countries a while ago. What you should be talking about is internet in every home. Absolutely. When are you going to achieve that? It happened in many countries a while ago. It didn't happen in Zambia. Happen in Zambia. But under this leadership, it's happening. Okay. Well, that's okay. And how many years are we anyway as a country? Well, truth is, technology moves very fast. Absolutely. And if you will, well and good, you're having paperless pay slips,
Yes.
rather, you know, and that's well and good. But the truth is, we possibly are a generation behind.
Doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't matter, but what's our contribution? We may be 2 generations behind. And if you are comparing with the USA, for example, the USA got independence from the UK, who was also our colonial masters over 200 years ago. We got ours just 55 years ago. So if we are 100 years behind the US, that's okay.
Well, in technology terms,
no,
you don't count the years like that,
No, hold on. You know, the independence also promotes a sense of thinking, some kind of thinking. Because when our late President Chiluba came to power, this is when Franklin people began to build houses. Because then they knew they won't be able to stay in Chilenje or in Charleston after retirement, because those houses have been sold. So they had to find land next door to build a house, to secure their future. So these things have got a way they actually impact the way we think.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Let's pause there. Maybe we can come back to it later on. But there's the issue of ZAMPOS as well.
Yes.
Another critical institution for the government, and happenings there are clearly concerning. What would you say should be blamed on what's going on at ZAMPOS?
Wow.
First of all, the workers want their salaries.
Yes.
They're not a happy group of people.
No.
But they're in a very crucial institution.
Yeah, they are. Frankly, the workers in ZAMPOS don't deserve to be going through what they are going through. And it hates me. It hates government. It hates their leader to see our workers going through what they are actually going through right now. The biggest problem, in my view, has been management failure to change with time. When I was growing up in Livingstone, you know, we were writing letters, and my parents were in Northern Province. You could write a letter, you know, and the letter will reach. Today, I don't know if you would ever write a letter, sending it to Chipata, for example. Okay? Now, things have changed. It's WhatsApp today. It's all of these social media inventions have taken over what we used to do. So that means that ZAMPOS management needed to promote strategies that were adaptive to the changes that we're experiencing. That's what I see. We needed to make sure that the assets of ZAMPOS began to be sweated in a little different way, in a much better way, so that we don't lose the income despite the changing times.
Well, how quick would ZAMPOS be expected to move if you as minister or cabinet only computerized yesterday?
I'm not talking about computerization.
Well, it's part of the issue.
No,
innovations are part of computerization. Is part
no,
of it.
Franklin.
Technological changes are part of it.
I'm not taking a narrow view.
Is still manual in a very big sense.
That's not my focus, and I have to be very clear. My focus is ZAMPOS has a lot of assets. Which assets should have been sweated a little more and a little differently? Which assets should have been exploited in a different way, looking at the changing times? By so saying,
bureaucracy notwithstanding.
Of course, bureaucracy is a system, and the system must work for all of us. You know, who is responsible for changing systems? It's us. So if something is not working for us, we need to amend.
That's like saying there's no one in ZAMPOS with innovative ideas.
That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. ZAMPOS is not closed. Today, there are men and women in ZAMPOS who are still saving this nation under very difficult circumstances, and I empathize with them. Okay, they are there, but sometimes you may not have the full power to do exactly what you want to do. This is why we have to enable ZAMPOS to be nimble-footed, obtain the agility required to respond to the changes of time or of our time. And I'm available to them. Their government is available to them. We will support ZAMPOST to make sure that it can also respond to the changes that are coming.
What would you say should be ZAMPOST's niche?
Well, ZAMPOST should find a niche, not me. I should support.
That's not very helpful.
No, let me, and I'll be clear. I'll be very clear. I'll be very clear. Today, I am Minister of Transport and Communication, serving at the pleasure of His Excellency the President. Tomorrow, the President might decide that I'm not the best person to sit here. Okay? And ZAMPOST cannot follow my vision. The board in ZAMPOST must approve the thinking of management. This is what I'm saying. And the thinking of management is drawn from capabilities, okay, out of analysis of your situation. And in analyzing your situation, you are looking at your market, you are looking at the people you have, you are looking at the equipment you have, and you are looking at everything else together. Then you come up with a position and take to your board. The board then looks at it and they approve that. That's your niche. That's
unfortunately, you're representing, as minister, all the other ministers before you.
Yes.
And to suggest that the boards that were there possibly could not have supported innovations coming from management is to assume too much. It is possible that there are people within the institution that had great ideas, but red tape.
I have not made that assumption, and I wouldn't. The board members who served the ZAMPOST, and indeed ZICTA, were good people, okay? They were good people. They made their contribution. If I didn't thank them, I have to appreciate what they contributed to the nation. But in spite of their effort, okay, ZAMPOST is still behind on salaries. And these are our people.
Right.
Okay. In spite of their contribution, the revenue for ZAMPOST is still going down. That is my problem.
But surely you have an idea, as minister, interested in the welfare of the institution, just what it should take.
I could have an idea.
That's why you're there.
Franklin,
and you have all these experts around you. You make those decisions in an informed position.
This conversation we are having now, we are not in ZAMPOST.
Of course not.
Okay, we are not in ZAMPOST.
Of course not. But for you to make a decision,
yes,
would suggest there is something that counters.
Yes.
What is that?
Look, ZAMPOST has a lot of hope right now. It has a lot of hope because the management of ZAMPOST will have to move. They have to be nimble-footed. They have to pay workers' salaries. Okay? They have to do it because if
themselves,
ideas,
without your help?
We are helping them, and by the way, Treasury does allocate a bit of money to ZAMPOST, and it's my duty to push for that money to be released, okay, to ZAMPOST. However, that is not what I would encourage. I would encourage a situation where ZAMPOST, with all the expertise they have, with all the assets they have, they begin to contribute to the treasury. Well, that's the ideal situation.
Which is perfect. But for now, workers have gone, what, 3 months, 4 months, no salary.
Absolutely.
They need your intervention. How quick should they expect that to happen? Because surely...
We are working. We are working, Franklin. And we, as government, as their government, this is a matter
because it's not enough to feel sorry for the workers who have not been paid.
This is a matter that keeps me awake. And I have to say there are other institutions which are in a similar situation under my ministry, okay? And I have to be very clear. These are the issues which keeps me awake. These issues keep me awake in the night because I have to think about what solutions we should promote. Okay, and these are serious ideas where when we promote them and the system buys into them, we will resolve these problems.
How far fetched or how close are you to finding a solution?
We are busy. We are busy. Right now, we are working. That I can tell you. We are working and the solutions are on the way.
Is ZAMPOST bloated, you think?
Well, I can't outrightly say that. I would be misleading you, because that must be a response arising from critical analysis.
Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. Let's move on to the issues that have been making headlines. They go and come. The re-establishment of Zambia Airways, which continues to drag.
Yeah.
And you're expectant and things change. Will this ever happen? Will Zambia Airways ever fly?
From where I sit, yes, Zambia Airways should fly. From where I'm sitting.
From where reality is sitting?
Why are you separating me from reality? I'm a real person.
Within the region,
yes,
you have problems coming in with suggestions about the viability of running businesses like airlines. Is it worth it? Isn't it just safe not to go that direction?
Okay. Well, fair enough. And I do think that in a world full of diversity, it's okay to think that way. But look at the investments at KK. Look at the investments in Ndola. You look at the investment in Kasama. You go to Livingston and see how Livingston, Harimanga Ngumbula Airport looks today. Okay? For who have we put $1.5 billion into these investments? For who? Okay? If not for the Zambian people, if not for the exploitation of opportunities by Zambian people, Zambia Airways is going to fly in this country and in our time, because we are working at this. The viability issues are issues of management. They are issues of governance. Okay? If in the region airlines are not doing well, why is Ethiopian Airline making a profit? Why? As
a case in point, why not consider those that are not, those that are close to you?
That's a point. That's a point. Why can't we draw lessons from them, as opposed to thinking because it's not working here, therefore it can't work for us? When Malawi has got an airline, when Tanzania has got an airline, when Zimbabwe is flying, Botswana is flying, why is it that only us can't fly? If we fly, it's a problem.
Look at the competing needs that you have.
The competing needs, and that's a problem, because people think that, or some people might be thinking that it is Treasury which is funding this. No. These are innovative financial packages. Innovative, outside of the Treasury. We are not squeezing the Treasury to ensure that Zambia Airways flies again. No. We are using innovative financing models. This is why this is in a partnership. The Zambian government through IDC, as well as Ethiopian Airline. We shall draw on the experience of the profit-making Ethiopian Airline and also our people here in Zambia. But look at the benefits that it's going to bring. The other time I was going for the Council of Ministers on Tazara in Tanzania. Do you know how I took 7 hours to fly from Lusaka to Dar es Salaam? Well, it's inconceivable. How much time did I waste? How much fatigue? And you reach there, you can't even read the documents properly. In the end, the meeting has to go ahead. So let's make sure that we also assist in the promotion of efficiency in our region, in our country. Look at what this introduction is going to do to competition. Okay, you think about it in terms of intra-country tourism and expansion of tourism in terms of, family tourism.
Well, that would be fantastic with increased disposable income among Zambians.
But that comes
with the current scenario where it's generally felt that, the economy is having its challenges. Zambian families will hardly go on holiday.
Absolutely. Is Zambian Airways going to help promote the economy? Yes. Is the promotion of international tourism as a result of the presence of Zambian Airways promote the economy to an extent where the Zambian people who are currently having difficulties can also participate in those opportunities? I think yes. So you can't, look, our own position today must not determine the future. Okay, our position today must, must motivate us to think about what to do in terms of promoting the future, so that our people who are coming behind us can find a good
clearly, in your earlier indicator, you talked about the infrastructure that I'm sure the airports that are being built, and that, to me, would suggest local tourism. Do you think that you're...
Well, and international tourism.
Well, of course, that's really important. But you want to promote your local tourism by locals. But the locals are not flying as much as they should.
Why?
Well, you tell me, anyway, sir. You tell me. Why, is it a cultural issue? Is it an issue of disposable income? Do you think that supporting ministries that should promote local tourism are doing enough so that the infrastructure that you bring in is used by locals, or else are you risking having white elephants all over?
Well, I come from Northern Province, and I can tell you there might be no place like Northern Province in Zambia. Kasaba Bay, Chishimba Falls, Musonda Falls, Chilambwe Falls.
Who would go there without disposable income?
Hold on. Who would go there without disposable income? Is that airport going to operate itself? Of course no. It will be operated by the Zambian people. This is why we are constructing capital. If you look at the clever people who understood the factors of production, they told us it is land, capital, labor, and now they have added entrepreneurship, isn't it? When you look at Zambia as a country, what do we have? Land in its abundance. If you fly, you'll see a lot of land which is unoccupied. Okay, we have labor. Today, a lot of people are looking for jobs, trained and untrained. We have them in their numbers. What is it that we don't have? It's capital. Okay, what do you do to avail the capital to the Zambian people? Okay, acquire the capital. Acquire the capital, construct capital. So what we are doing is constructing capital in order to complete the requirement of factors of production. All these gaps which exist in, for the fact that we have land, we have the human capital, we don't have where to put them. So when you see this infrastructure, this is what we call construction of capital, so that we complete the mandatory requirements for the economy to move. This is what we are doing. So I see a lot of Zambians getting jobs in these airports. I see a lot of Zambians getting jobs in the maintenance of the telecommunication towers. I see a lot of Zambians managing our roads and doing business on our roads. I see a lot of that. And when that happens, because we have expanded the scope, then we have a situation now that a few more Zambians, like you, Franklin, begin to have disposable income.
Shouldn't you see more Zambians on airlines or aeroplanes for local business? Shouldn't see more Zambians on more other transportation modes? In other words, the issue of providing employment at a low level doesn't seem to go down well with some people.
It shouldn't, but at what level are we? That's the thing. But also, also the issue of owning an aeroplane to lease to where, maybe to Zambia Airways. That's okay. I'm happy. Or you lease it to ProFlight or to Mahogany. That's all right, isn't it? And our thinking is not restrictive, is it? It's not restrictive. If a hotel can be operated at the international airport, that's all right. That's what we want. But how will you operate a hotel at an airport which has no terminal? There's no terminal in Kasama. How can you build promote building of of a hotel? It's impossible. So Zambians should understand where we are as a nation and where we are trying to get to. All these things are interlinked. We can't view them in isolation.
Since they're interlinked, it also brings to mind the state of rail transport.
Yeah.
Not too many look forward to moving by train because it's just not the way it used to be. No. Are you concerned about that area of transportation
Yeah.
Are you doing anything to improve that area of alternative transport?
Yes, Franklin, we are very concerned as government, and as a matter of fact, on the 1st of August, I launched the transport policy, which is going to guide development in the transport sector. This policy is focusing on creating an intermodal kind of transport situation in our country, as we promote Zambia as a hub of transport and logistics in our region, because of we are in the center, so we can promote that very, very easily. Now, intermodal in what sense? Because we are looking at developments not just in the road transport, but also in aviation. I made reference to the $1.5 billion that has been injected in aviation, in the aviation asset improvement. But also we are talking about revamping of the railway sector, both Zambia Railways as well as Tazara. And the problems we have in Zampost are also in Tazara, by the way. And we are not sitting idle as government. This is why the trip I made reference to, where I had to suffer 7 hours to travel a trip of 2 hours, we were talking about revamping Tazara. That's what we're talking about.
It's an old story. You may appreciate. This Tazara story is old.
It could be old.
Tired. It just doesn't seem to go anywhere.
No, but you need to ask, what have you done? Okay. How differently are you looking at this? I've only had one Council of Ministers meeting where I'm privileged to be the chairman. And in that, I want clarity. I was very categorical. I said, we are not going to talk about things that are not clear. I want clarity.
Have you been given that clarity?
We have given a little time for Tazara to come up with a business case, because we want to fund a business case. We don't want to fund money into bottomless.
Isn't that what has been chewing time in some of these projects? In this country, part of the problem is...
there are two countries involved there.
Right.
Don't say in this country.
No. And that's just part of the problem, because Tazara, Tanzania, that's appreciated. Yes. But there's a role that you also have to play. Because the Zambia Railways as well. Yes. The issue of you've built this, as your government, building beautiful roads, which risk diminishing quickly because overloaded trucks will be, and you need to move, don't you?
Franklin, the Zambians need to understand together with us what we are doing. We have issued an SI, which has mandated generators of heavy cargo to allocate 30% of that cargo to the railway sector. Okay? If that is not promotion of business in the railway sector, ask me what. Right now, we are working on a system where we are going to be promoting 50% of the cargo generated in Zambia to be transported by Zambian companies.
It's effective?
Very soon I'm going to be doing that. That's the idea which we are doing right now in the ministry. 50% of all cargo generating from Zambia must be transported by Zambians.
Abrogation of that SI?
Well, we have a lot of teeth. We have a lot of teeth. We have plenty of teeth.
Is the infrastructure ready to support that kind of traffic?
That's my understanding, because we have a lot of people who have trucks which are not doing anything in this country. A lot of people looking for business. They have invested money, but the business is taken away by other foreigners, okay, who come cheap because they are doing backloads. Okay, so we are going to stop that.
So it's what? It's a protectionist policy?
Well, our people need our support. Our people in all sectors need our support. They need
so you're not going to leave things to market forces anymore?
They will compete. Even the Zambians will have to compete. We are just saying, okay, 50% give us. That's the idea we are promoting. 50% give it to us. The copper is being produced in Zambia. Oh, okay, it's okay, you can hire others, but 50% of it, give it to Zambians. And the Zambians will compete.
I disturbed your thought with regards the Zambia Tazara concept or master plan, the clarity that you're looking for. What's the short of it? What's the short of this?
We as the two governments, the two ministers, you know, TAZARA is managed by the Council of Ministers. 3 ministers from Zambia, 3 ministers from Tanzania. And these are ministers of finance, transport, and of trade. So in our case, we have the Minister of Commerce and Trade, Minister of Finance, and myself. And on the other side, we have the same set of ministers. And as a country, we are the chairman. Particularly myself, I'm the chairman for that, privileged to be. What we demanded is for TAZARA to give us a business case, so that when we are clear now of what exactly requires injection, then as the two countries we inject, and TAZARA begins to participate properly in these opportunities we are creating, the SIs, that 30%, which is in effect right now, TAZARA should be able to move. So whether the injection is going to be in rolling stock, whether we have to repair the track, or those are issues that are going to be clear. And once we obtain that clarity, which shouldn't be long, because we had the meeting, I think, just last month, we are moving. And the people, the workers in TAZARA will be happy. This yesterday there was or the other day there was a motion in Parliament where some people talked quite badly, really, accusing people of going to work just to do corruption. I have to tell you, that is not how the government views workers in TAZARA. We view workers in TAZARA as people who are actually sacrificing for the country, because they are going to work under very, very difficult circumstances.
Don't the difficult circumstances give birth to corruption?
Well, corruption is there even where people are having a good time. It's there.
Okay, fair enough. Recently, truck drivers went on go slow, a situation which was deemed, it was a protest, and they would expect that you take care of their welfare. You're satisfied this issue has been settled? Are you, have you let down the truck drivers?
Well, the issue has not been resolved yet, but all the issues are going to be resolved. And again, our truck drivers should not be misled by optimists, people who take everything as an opportunity to gain political mileage. The issues are clear. The truck drivers have been complaining, and I think to some extent I must promise them that we should do better as government. And since we are sitting here, since I am sitting here, we will make sure that working with all stakeholders, the Ministry of Labour and ourselves, will address the issue of the salary. In working with the truck owners, we will address this issue in the shortest possible time. Then there are issues that we ourselves in the transport ministry should do. For example, the issue of the driver's license. I must be very clear that this issue of extending the period from 1 year to a bit more years is something that is already sitting there.
Right. It's
sitting in my ministry, and you don't need to go anywhere else. Okay, you just have to come to me, and I'm telling you, we are going to expand the period.
How soon?
Hopefully before, well, I just don't know, because these are issues of the law. You have to change the law, and the law has got a procedure, you understand. But it has already moved from my office. It has gone.
You support it?
Yeah, I have supported it already. The people, the truck drivers will not require to go to renew their licenses on an annual basis.
And you're not making a populist decision?
It's not a populist. I think that it's a legitimate demand. I understand the sensitivity of PRDPs, because these are people who carry very sensitive things like oil, like people. And so you need to be checked on a regular basis.
Right.
So that since you are carrying so many people, 75 people in a bus, we need to know that your eyes are okay, your ears are you're tip-top and all of that. That is the reason why these people got to renew their licenses. But 1 year, year on year, it's a bit too much. Okay, even the deterioration of a human body, sometimes you give it a benefit of doubt, and so we are extending that. It's not populist. It is something that...
Has it been subject to debate, this issue, the one you're supporting? Apart from the complaints of the drivers, has it been subject to debate?
Well, debate, of course, starts with the same people. There's been a lot of debate. Drivers have complained. That's a lot of debate.
What about the public? Because, unfortunately, not all of them, they're bad eggs within the trucking industry.
I understand.
They've caused death. They're very excited.
Parliament.
They behave.
Parliament, frankly, when amending this law, the due process will have to follow. And people will be invited, organizations will be invited to submit to Parliament. Okay? They will be, before the report is laid on the floor of the House for that amendment. Mr. Speaker will, has committees that will be referred to a committee, and that committee will interrogate views from people.
Well, we know already what your position is. You've already indicated yourself.
That is my position. That is my position.
So you're already on the left. Is it? Let's say you're already on the right.
Yeah.
So the duty you have now is to listen to counter views. Will you accommodate that?
You see, Parliament and its process is bigger than my thinking. The cabinet is bigger than my thinking. Okay, it's just cabinet. Okay, Minister of Justice is bigger than my thinking. So this adjustment, which I have supported, will go through the due process. It will go through the due process. So even if it were you, Franklin, sitting in my seat, you can't just change it. It has to go through the due process. Well, you've already committed.
I understand that.
Yes.
So you're ready for disappointment.
Well, I would imagine...
You supported something, yes, and I'm pretty sure that you wanted to go all the way.
I'm a Democrat, and I belong to PF, which is a Democratic party. So I am always open to views, okay? I belong to PF. I don't belong to these other parties which don't believe in democracy. I'm PF.
Honorable Minister, how do you think you'll end your tenure as minister before 2021? What will have happened?
First of all, Franklin, I don't have to think until 2021. I have to think when the president feels that I should still be there. Okay? If I begin to...
I give you more time. The president might give you shorter time.
That's the thing. So my thinking is, as an MP for Lunte,
right,
I have to contribute to the people of Lunte to the best of my ability. As a Minister of Works and Supply, and now Minister of Transport and Communication, I have to do my very best in the time that I'm given. That's how will I end? I have to end at a high note, because I am thinking to this president who gave me the privilege. I have to do my maximum contribution. I have to offer him maximum contribution. At whatever point he comes and says, you are stopping here, I will have contributed, and I don't have to regret.
Honorable Minister, thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you, sir.
And that's it. On Sunday interview, we've been having a chat with the Minister of Transport and Communications, Mutotwe Kafwaya. Many issues still abound, and I'm sure we can call him back when the right time comes. Thank you for watching Sunday interview. Goodbye.